Caleb Shomo, frontman for Beartooth, joining us once again on Loudwire Nights. Well, frontman is underselling you, right? So writer, producer, mixer, player of all instruments in studio. You know, whatever there is to do, he does it. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it, Caleb.
Hey, thank you for having me. Always great to be here.
It's nice to see you. It's been about 3 years, so since you were out promoting Disease, so it's been a minute, a lot to catch up on, including the upcoming album Below, of course, which arrives June 25th. Let's start with some positive news. I don't know how much positive news is in that record, so let's start with some positive news. I heard you're getting your second COVID shot tomorrow, which is like classifies as exciting in 2021. How you feeling?
Oh my God, extremely exciting. Yes, I mean it has been a wild ride to say the least, but thankfully, yeah, about to be fully vaccinated and slowly getting on the track to things being more normal. Which
Absolutely.
Is
Yeah. Did you feel anything when you got the first one? I haven't gotten it yet.
no, I mean, honestly, literally nothing.
Okay.
I mean, I barely even felt it happen. It was just like a whoop. And then I was waiting to like feel a little bit of something, but no, it
You
was
got
just
lucky.
kind of
Awesome.
cruising. Yeah.
Very cool. So I'm trying to kind of wrap my head around when this album came together, when Below came together. From what I understand, you were working on it when you were out touring Disease, but then I read that 2020 crept into the album all the way through, and it was kind of what you were going through at the time. So can you explain that?
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, I started writing the music. I mean, kind of the first dabbling with it was on a Day to Remember tour that we did, which was what, like fall 2019. And then I did a lot of the music on the co-headliner with Motionless in White in January. And then I did a lot more writing in Europe on our Disease tour over in Europe and UK. And that was, you know, a ton of the music. Almost all the music was written then. And then after getting home, you know, we'd already planned to take time off, which was something we got super, super lucky with timing wise. But then obviously, you know, what was supposed to be a few months off turns into 6 months, which turns into a year, and you know, so on and so forth. So that was pretty much all the lyrics were written then, and the you know, just kind of like dialing everything in and really putting it all together was from March to about November.
So let's talk about COVID creeping in, lyrical contact. I know you don't want to go into like what the songs mean and things like that, but what can you tell us about this? You keep warning people about the heaviness and the darkness, and I'm like, we're pretty familiar with, you know, your mental health issues, and it's usually pretty dark. So you're scaring me a little. What can you tell us?
Right. Well, I mean, it's just, I think people should be prepared and know what they're going into. So really the whole point of this record lyrically is me kind of just capturing uh, and also being as honest as I can possibly be about how I was feeling due to lockdown and COVID and everything going on. And, you know, it does get to points where it's incredibly dark and very like self-deprecating and just borders on evil at points. But it's not meant to be this like, it's really not meant to be this like super painful like thing. I don't know. I think it's going to be easily misinterpreted. But really, the point of this is like, at least for me, to be able to just express how I was feeling. And that I think it's a lot of stuff that tons of people felt and were going through. And, you know, nobody really wanted to talk about. And that's kind of the point is like, if you didn't feel like, you know, you had the strength to say it, it's like, I'm just trying to kind of say it for everybody. Like, I know how fucking gnarly it was and how dark, excuse my language, but like, it was evil. And there was so many difficult times in, you know, mentally because of lockdown. So I just tried to capture that. And it's almost this little time capsule of like what it felt like. And also it was a way for me to get all of that off my chest and to feel like, you know, when I'm talking about something and putting it out into the world, it feels like I have more power over it and more control over it. So like I can go back and listen to some of these lyrics and be like, man, it was so crazy that I was thinking that at that time, but it was true. And at least, I got it out and I can listen back and hear how ridiculous those words coming out of my mouth sound. And, you know, know that I'm moving forward from this period of time.
I was going to ask you, do you feel like you're still kind of in that place? But you just kind of answered that.
Yeah, honestly, like things have been really, really going a lot better. And I've been taking a lot of steps as well just to try and deal with, my own mental health, and specifically through the stuff that happened with, being locked down and COVID and whatnot, seeking some professional help and advice and things to just kind of like better my own life and my own journey.
I saw that you posted the picture. So it was like late October, and then a couple months later, another picture, and you're like, you were not in a good place here. And then you said you got on some routine and it really helped you. So by the end of December, you were feeling, like a better version of yourself, I guess you could say.
Right.
What was that routine? I'm thinking you could do like a Sick of Me part 2 and then like explain to everybody what your routine is.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think like most people, I just kind of fell into that, very lethargic way of life. And it's so hard to have any motivation when you don't know, especially, for being a musician, we didn't know when we'd ever really be able to work again and like go out on tour and do our normal jobs. So, I fell into a very, lethargic routine of just no sleep schedule and eating whatever I felt like and drinking whatever I felt like, and, just laying on the couch and being really, I don't know, just self-deprecating and sad. And I was like, I don't like this. This is not the way that I should be handling this and feeling. And at first it started with simple things like exercise and just getting back into a routine, because I realized without touring, like touring is a serious workout. And, especially a Beartooth show, I'm running around up there like a chicken with my head cut off for an hour and 15 minutes to an hour and a half. And so getting a good workout routine back in my life was good. Just trying to eat well. And then honestly, I've been doing counseling now. I basically see like a therapist online once a week, and that's been extremely helpful. And just I'm quitting smoking, and I'm just like really slowly taking these steps that are just like, there's no way that this won't benefit my life and my quality of life. So it's just trying to do those little things that are just better for me.
I'm laughing because I used to smoke too, and you said quitting smoking, which is so like non-committal. I'm wondering where you are within that phase. Is it like gonna start tomorrow?
I'm on the mints phase right now.
Nice.
But yeah, little over, actually almost 3 weeks now. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, that's been good.
Cool. All right, let's talk about the album's title for a second. So Sick, Disgusting, Aggressive, Disease. We had the acoustic album, and now Below, which doesn't really sound like the rest of it. So what are you trying to tell us with Below? It sounds like a new chapter in a sense.
Yeah, definitely. I think it was just what I always try and do with the albums is like think of one word that just really captures the emotion of it and what I was going through at the time and what I was trying to figure out. And this album is incredibly influenced by heavy metal more than our past stuff. I feel like is a bit more rock and roll. This is a lot more heavy metal, and even like doom metal and like old stoner rock like Sabbath and stuff like that. And I don't know. I mean, Below just kind of felt like the word to get it done. And when I wrote the title track, it felt like the most kind of lyrically relative song to what I was going through at the time. So I just decided, I was like, yeah, that's the one. And then also, it is kind of a story. Every record of ours is like a different chapter. And I already have like our next album. I already have the title for that and the concept for that, and I'm already working on that.
Is it above?
I wish I could say, but I cannot. But yeah, like, and then, but I will say that after what will, obviously we're focusing on Below right now, but it's like
Yes.
Below, and then there's one more record, and that's going to be like the end of kind of the first chapter, which will be like my 20s. You know what I mean? That'll be kind of that whole period like wrapped up in these 5 records. Well, 5 records in an EP, I guess.
Mhm.
But yeah, Below is just the like we're nearing the end of chapter 1, and that's kind of like what this record is,
Which is reflected in the Past is Dead song title anyway. I know you don't want to get into what the songs mean. So how did that song come together? How do you think it fits with the rest of the album? What do you want to share about the current single?
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely happy to talk about certain things. I don't, my decision to not really explain what the songs mean, I think, is just to try and keep some of that magic for the listener to like
I totally
choose
get
what it
that.
means for themselves. But yeah, I mean, The Past is Dead is very straightforward lyrically, and it's really just about, you know, the funny thing is I didn't even write that song in lockdown lyrically. That was like right before. So, but it's, I
Weird.
mean, it's
I thought it
about,
was 100% lockdown.
exactly, which is what it kind of turned into. But really, that song's just about like craving a better version of yourself, and I like that was written when I was really in this kind of like dark mental place, and I was looking back on my life and times that I felt more kind of like whole mentally and more confident and feeling better about myself. And it's just kind of like that desire to always be like this previous better version of yourself, even though it's not attainable and you can only move forward. So yeah, that's what that song's kind of about.
Okay, fair enough. There's a line in that song. Let me make sure I get it right. Diving deeper into madness, anything it takes to feel alive. Outside of being on a stage, because I know that's what you're going to say, when do you feel most alive? Golf or cooking?
Golf. I mean, well, it depends on what I'm cooking, but generally speaking, golf is like, I mean, that is my absolute obsession and addiction. Like, I just can never get enough. And it's just my one thing that when I'm playing golf, well, I guess one of two things. When I'm playing golf and when I'm cooking, I'm not thinking at all about music or business or anything like that. So yeah, golf is
Golf.
golf will do it.
Golf for
That's
the
like
W.
that is my drug. That get
Uh,
that that gets me out of bed in the morning. Yeah.
my drug is golf. Very
Mm.
boring drug. Okay.
Yeah, not very rock and roll.
I love it. Well, Alice Cooper would disagree.
Yeah.
There's so the album cover art is this kind of skeleton looking thing, and I'm pretty sure this is just me, but I see the word fool in that. Like, so it's the handlebars, and then it's the headlights, and then I see
Huh.
an F and an L after it. Also, I see the headlights, and then there's a sad face under it. Am I completely reading way too much into this?
You could be completely correct. I didn't, I don't know the person personally who drew that album art and sketched it out, but I would not doubt that there's some other stuff hidden in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, like this is, like I was talking about with like getting super deep into the lyrics and stuff, like I'm just gonna say yeah, because if that's what you see and that's what like sticks out to you, then absolutely. I think that's how you should interpret it.
You can't tour, but you did recently announce a UK tour. So that was going to kick off in February, I believe.
Yes.
When can your US fans expect to hear anything, any news?
Um, we are really trying to do something this year. It's still, everything is up in the air with, certain states it can happen, certain states it can't. Like we're really trying to dial it in and make sure it's all kind of like set in stone and really going to be able to happen before we announce anything. But 100% we're trying to do something this year. And yeah, like the full, we're trying to tour, we're trying to do some festivals, we're trying to the moment we can and do it safely. Yeah. So
It's on.
yeah,
Yeah. I know how
this
much
year is
you
the goal.
That's the goal. All right. I know how much you love being on stage. So I actually wanted to ask you, I haven't asked or spoken to anybody who's done a socially distanced show the way you guys did from with people in the cars. What
Mhm.
was that like for you as a performer? And
It was very interesting. It was more of, we kind of viewed it as if it was like a late night TV performance, or like, you know, we didn't really treat it as much like a live show, in a certain sense, because there's not that like me yelling at the crowd to mosh and to do certain things and to like sing this part and whatnot, because people are like in their cars, or they're so far away in this parking lot. We had our stage, we had our production, our sound, all that, and there was just like some big video walls so everybody could see it really well. And we approached it as, let's just put on the absolute best performance for all these people that we can possibly put on, because there's no me doing this and then the crowd, like the roar of the crowd. It's like, if I do this, you hear like 5 or 10
honk.
people in the front, yeah, a couple of honks, flashing high beams, whatever. um but it was really cool. I mean, it was awesome, and like a really unique experience. Like, I'm really glad we did it, because it was just this kind of a once in a lifetime thing. I could never see another scenario where we would ever do a drive-in show, other than like to keep everybody safe and be able to play some live music. So it was really cool, and it was really fun, and the crowd loved it. They really appreciated it. And to all the people I could see, at least in like, the first few rows of cars, everybody had a really good time, and got a lot of messages afterwards from people saying thanks for doing that, and it was really special. And um, I wish we could have done more, but honestly, like, to get that whole thing to work and not have everybody involved lose a ton of money is really, really difficult. So yeah, it was just kind of one of those like one and done. We just kind of did it for the fun of it, and it really worked out, and it was cool. But I really hope that next time we play, it's not to people in cars.
Yeah,
I
you're like, from
really
what
hope
I could see
people
through the
stay.
tints, I think everybody had a really enjoyable evening. Uh,
Exactly.
so as mentioned earlier, you're a particularly, what's the word, special musician, right? The way you handle everything is unique. There's a few of you out there, not too many. So I was wondering, hypothetical, let's say it's somebody on your team and you really trust them, and they're psychic. We have to keep all that into account. And they say to you, Caleb, this song is going to be Beartooth's biggest song. It's going to take you guys. I know you're all about getting to the next level, always, always. Would you record it?
Hmm. Like, if somebody else was like, here's a song.
Yeah. Like you have no say in anything.
uh I mean, not for Beartooth, at least. You know what I mean? And I've done plenty of co-writing. I mean, this is the first album. This is the first album, period, that there's no co-writes on. There's been co-writes on every other record of ours except for this one. But yeah, the whole point of this
A
is that,
co-write and a no write is a little different.
well, yeah, a no-write, that I've never done.
Yeah.
Never. No, I couldn't do that. It's just like, the whole point of this band for me is to like be incredibly close to my heart, very emotional, very personal. So to take that element away just for monetary success, I have zero interest. I'd rather, I'd rather write a song and bite the dust and it not work than get huge off a song that I had no involvement in. Absolutely.
I knew you were going to say that. I knew you were going to say that. All right, we'll wrap on this kind of silly one, but I was obviously stalking your Instagram page, which led me to stalking your wife's Instagram page. And I saw that your dog is taking some medication for something. So I'm a dog freak. So how is your
Yeah.
dog?
Okay, so he's doing amazing now, but it has been a wild ride. About a little less than a year ago, maybe like 9 months, he started to get really sick, and we just didn't know what was going on. We took him to the vet multiple times. They didn't know what was going on. And we finally took him to another vet that's almost like a hospital style thing for animals. And they figured it out. And you know, it was just a lot of work. Like he originally, when he was healthy, he was 135 pounds. And then in the course of a few months, he got down to 104 pounds and all of his hair was falling out and he was incredibly unhealthy and we just couldn't figure out what was going on. Finally, you know, after just trying a lot of different regimens of changing his diet, of lots of different medications, he's been doing really, really well. And, you know, he's got his energy back, his coat is growing back in, which is really exciting. And he's just happy again. But yeah, it was touch and go there for a minute, and it was very, very terrifying. But he is okay. Raph is alive and well and super happy.
Awesome. That is the perfect note to wrap this interview on. Thank you so much, Caleb. Continued success. It's always a pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you so much. Always great to talk.
You too. Take care. Bye.
Bye.